What does it look to live in downtown Dayton? I personally do not live there, and I've never lived there. I've always lived in the suburbs of Dayton, but I did want to give an idea of what it looks like to live in our downtown. I am Morgan Turner, your Greater Dayton local expert and realtor, and thank you so much for being here. Let's get into it. So you're considering moving into the city of downtown. Here is the best way I can describe what all there is downtown without being someone that has lived downtown to really give you the ins and outs of it. There are plenty of locally owned shops. So I'm just gonna go through some of my favorite locally owned shops downtown. There is Luna Gifts and Botanicals. I've actually had them at some of my events and they are just so cute. There is Second Street Market that is very popular downtown. Heart and Mercantile, Reduce, Reuse, and Refillery. There is Wild Orchid Candle Company. And then there's also Blonde Betty Vintage. Now, some of these places I have just recently found and I'm like, okay, those are really freaking cute. So I'm super excited about those. But those are some of the locally owned shops downtown. There are spots in the Oregon district and surrounding that you can walk to these shops and live. So if you live in like a condo downtown or whatnot, you could get to these spots pretty quickly. Some of the activities going on downtown. So on the weekends is Oregon district. There's Ned Peppers, there's Next Door, Hole in the Wall. There's a bunch of bars down the Oregon district that you can go to, and it's a little bit more of that nightlife. But like I've said in my previous videos, you're not gonna get the nightlife in downtown Dayton like you will in Cincinnati or Columbus. Yeah, I think living downtown, I've had friends that live downtown, they really like it. It's a neat environment, it's a neat vibe to be there, but it's just not like the exact downtown that I think everybody expects, like coming from a bigger city. So yeah, some activities you can do in downtown. There is silent disco at Yellow Cab Tavern. The Dayton Dragons game is right in the, I feel like smack dab in the center of town, right? I mean, in downtown games. And then they do fireworks after their game. Right across from the Dayton Dragon Stadium is Moeller Brewery. Now, we really enjoyed this place because you could sit on the patio and it's a really cool vibe in there, but you could sit on the patio, watch the fireworks at the Dayton Dragon Stadium, and over the summer, like that place is packed. The problem though is Moeller Brewery is closing. The rumor is that there is coming Pins Bowling or something like that. It's, I know that I've been to one in downtown Cincinnati. It's a really cool place too. So that's coming across from the Dayton Dragon Stadium. Well, don't hold me to that word, that's just a rumor. It's gonna be the same vibe as Moeller Brewery as it already is, or it'll be better. Another place you can do downtown activities is Too Social. They have an axe throwing, they have video games. There's also an arcade bar downtown that is called the DK Effect. There's also a lot of Metro Parks downtown and nearby. So the 5 Riverscape Metro Park, there's a big area of water you can ride bikes across, you can walk across. There's a really pretty bridge over there. Yeah, that's Riverscape Metro Park. And then they do a 4th of July party down there. I know that. They have a bunch of food trucks and stuff. And then they also have ice skating downtown, ice skating at Riverscape Metro Park. So it's another great one. And then Windsor Garden is also another close park I wanted to mention. Great restaurants that are downtown that should be walking distance if you were to get a condo downtown or live in the downtown vicinity. The Dayton Brew Company, that has a really big outdoor nightlife scene. They have the, what's that, like the fake grass area with outdoor yard games. They have a rooftop bar. The Foundry is a newer one. I think they've only been open for a few years. They have the igloos outside. They have it is a whole rooftop restaurant. It's above a hotel. So that's a really neat place. And it's like finer dining restaurant there. Table 33, I've been there one time for breakfast. I'm sure they have a lot more than just breakfast, but that was really good. Culture is another restaurant downtown we have yet to try, but following them on Instagram, it's just really cool to see kind of what they are doing. And also Tony and Pete's is another really neat place to follow on Instagram. I've yet to try that either. We really need to get downtown now that we think about it. And then Val's just recently blew up. They have croissants, and their croissants are just not like your typical croissants. They're really good. And then they also just opened a coffee shop in Kettering, I believe it is. But they also serve coffee at the Val's downtown as well. If you go there, especially on a weekend, it's gonna be lined up down the door or out the door down the street. So Val's has just became really popular. I think they just recently like went viral on either TikTok or Instagram. So I mean, they've always been really good. It's just like, you know, once you hit, everyone's there. So, and then a newer place is Midday Coffee. It replaced Ghostlight in downtown. I believe there is still another Ghostlight potentially in another spot downtown. but just where Midday is, that was an old Ghost Light Coffee. So Midday is a new coffee shop there. And then right next to that is Old Scratch Pizza, which a lot of people love going to that as well. I would say that the higher end things are more of the condos. The higher end houses are more of the condos there. You have Webster Station, Patterson's Place, Cooper's Place, Water Street District. And then some of the housing area is St. Anne's Hill, which is a historic homes over there. And then South Park is another place. Speaking of South Park, that is right next to UD. So UD is also downtown Dayton. There are so many restaurants I'm leaving out that are like huge that people love in downtown. But UD is another big part of downtown. I don't even know how I left that out. So there's the Dayton Art Museum downtown. And then there's also the Dayton Arcade, which they're really building out the Dayton Arcade. There's like a coffee shop in there now. The Dayton Arcade is beautiful. People host their weddings there, and their weddings are always 10 out of 10. Another place you could host a wedding downtown, just speaking of that, is, I believe it's a steam plant, is another great area to host like a wedding downtown. There's also photo studios. It can be a really neat place. And like now that I'm like overthinking just everything that's there, Dayton is also close. A suburb that Dayton is also close to is probably Oakwood, Kettering, Riverside, Huber Heights. I think that kind of wraps up everything that I wanted to talk about. Things to do, activities, what it looks like to live in Dayton, some of the condos, some of the neighborhoods that people like to live in, walking distance to all of these things. And I hope that this helps in a way. I'm going to be doing the suburbs very shortly and just talking more about suburbs. So if you do have suburbs that you're specifically like, I want to know more about that one, leave it below. I mean, there's so many suburbs surrounding. So it's like, which one do I start with? But yeah, leave those below and leave any questions. All of my information on how to contact me for any of your real estate needs. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.